The question that remains, what will happen to people's health insurance? Right now, we are in the middle of open enrollment. The bill did not include a plan for expiring health care tax credits, despite the push from Democrats. Atlanta News first spoke with Therese Acosta. She is a single mother of three. She relies on Affordable Care Act subsidies to pay for her health coverage. With those subsidies, she pays about $200 a month. Without them, that cost jumps to nearly $800. We spoke with Georgia lawmakers ahead of the vote. Republican Congressman Mike Collins says his party wants to re-examine the future of health care, but he does not believe that Obamacare is the answer. Democrats, including Congresswoman Nikema Williams, argued the fight is worth it, even if it means more showdowns in Washington.
If it was as affordable it was, they wouldn't hate subsidies. So that in itself tells you that this is not affordable. It's unaffordable health care.
How do you tell hardworking Americans that we're going to reopen the government, but no, you're on your own with your health care? These are false choices, especially in the wealthiest country in the world.
Now, Senate Republicans did promise Democrats a guaranteed Senate vote on extending the subsidies in December. But House Speaker Mike Johnson and President Trump have not said that they would support that, making protecting the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, an uphill battle. You can download the Atlanta News First app as we continue to follow the federal government's staggered reopening after their longest shutdown in our nation's history.